After losing my hearing for 6 years, I could hear again, but chose to stay silent about it. The conversations I overheard between my husband and best friend made me contact a lawyer that same day. Hello everyone, if you love stories like this one, don't forget to subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Now, let's dive into the story. The audiologist's statement replayed in my mind as I remained seated in the consultation room, emotions overwhelming me. Ms. Rivera, your hearing has been restored. This is remarkable. The innovative procedure succeeded. 6 years. 6 years of silence following that catastrophic accident on the construction site that claimed my colleagues' lives and destroyed my ability to hear. 6 years of relying on my husband Marcus and my closest friend Emma for every communication. 6 years of mastering existence in a soundless realm. Logic dictated I should have rushed back celebrating wildly. Yet something stopped me when Dr. Chen inquired, "Would you like me to contact your husband?" "Give me time," I murmured, my fingers shaking. I require space to process this." That pause transformed my entire reality. Living without sound had taught me to interpret people through alternative channels. The tension in facial muscles during deception. The artificial brightness masking disdain. The prolonged pauses that revealed everything. Recently, I detected something troubling about Emma and Marcus. Hushed exchanges that ceased when I approached. Marcus's cologne present in unexpected locations. Emma's late-night messages taken behind closed doors. Pure imagination, I kept reassuring myself, ashamed for doubting the two individuals who'd given up so much to support me. However, now, traveling back in the accessible van with my hearing aids deliberately turned off, a horrifying realization formed. Perhaps my deafness had been my only protection. Perhaps the instant they discovered I could hear, circumstances would shift dramatically. I resolved to observe, to listen, to finally uncover the reality I'd only suspected in silence. If this story captivates you, show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing. What unfolds next will astound you. The entrance swung open before I could knock. "Sweetheart, welcome back." Emma's tone seemed affectionate, her touch careful as she led me through. The identical hands that had comforted me during innumerable breakdowns throughout those initial horrifying weeks of deafness. With my hearing aids deliberately inactive, I could now actually hear her voice. Still melodious at 32, with that gentle quality I'd cherished for 12 years. Yet something else lingered there now. Something unsettling as she assisted me toward the sofa. "How did the examination go?" she questioned. Unchanged as usual, I responded effortlessly. Years of communicating through sign language and lip reading had perfected my acting abilities. "No improvement. Dr. Chen indicates we shouldn't anticipate anything shifting at this stage." I detected the subtle sigh of what sounded like relief. "Well, at minimum your overall health remains strong. That's the important thing. Marcus is dropping by for dinner tonight. He grabbed supplies earlier. My best friend. My brother in everything but blood, who I'd known since elementary school, who'd relocated nearby after my accident, insisting he wanted to assist, who'd taken over managing our business accounts since I could no longer handle financial matters. Keys rattled in the lock. "I've arrived." Marcus's voice rang out. With my hearing now functional, I listened to him enter. Through observation, I noticed him immediately seek out Emma with his eyes. 32 years old, athletic, wearing a watch I recognized not because I recalled it from before my deafness, but because I'd purchased it as Emma's anniversary gift to me 4 years prior. It had mysteriously vanished from my dresser. He embraced me briefly, and I detected it Emma's signature body lotion on his jacket from this morning. "How are you managing, sister?" he asked, gripping my shoulder. "Blessed to have you both," I answered, intending every syllable in ways he couldn't comprehend. The genuine performance was starting. Dinner became an intricate charade. I responded appropriately to vibrations on the table, angled my position toward movements as I'd practiced, smiled at appropriate intervals. But I was listening, truly listening. The whispered endearment Emma directed at Marcus when passing him the wine. How his laugh carried a different quality when addressing her versus me. The knowing glance they shared when assuming I remained oblivious. "I'm retiring early," I declared after we'd completed the meal. "Exhausted. Need assistance upstairs?" Emma volunteered, already rising. "No, I'll manage. You two enjoy your coffee." I ascended the staircase with rehearsed precision, counting the steps I'd memorized long ago. At the landing, I stopped, focusing. Stillness. Then Emma's voice, lowered. "When will you inform her?" My pulse froze. Marcus answered, but too softly initially. I moved back down several steps, remaining concealed in shadow. "I cannot continue this way," Marcus was stating. "It's been 9 months. Emma, I'm in love with you, but this situation is destroying me. She's my best friend." "Your best friend who cannot even detect what's happening around her," Emma responded bitterly. "Marcus, we've discussed this repeatedly. Once we gain control of her settlement funds next month, we can." I must have produced some noise, a gasp, a whimper, something, because they both fell silent immediately. "Did you catch that?" Emma whispered urgently. "Sophia." Marcus called out. "Everything all right up there?" I forced composure into my response. "Just bumped the railing. I'm fine. Heading to sleep now." I reached my bedroom, sealed the door, and collapsed against it, my palm covering my face to suppress the anguish. 9 months. They'd been carrying on for 9 months, plotting something involving my finances. Rest never arrived that night. I remained in bed, detecting Emma's eventual footsteps ascending, sensing the mattress shift as she positioned herself next to me. The identical bed where we'd once imagined our future, discussed adoption, vowed eternity. "You conscious?" she whispered. I maintained even breathing, feigning slumber. She exhaled and I sensed her pivot away. The following morning, I waited until both Emma and Marcus departed, her to the gallery she managed, him supposedly to our consulting firm. However, I'd learned Marcus had sold his partnership 3 months ago. Another fossowed in an endless sea of betrayal. Alone in the residence, I activated my hearing fully. Birdsong through the windows felt almost overwhelming after such prolonged absence. But I had investigating to do. I began with Emma's study. The space I hadn't accessed since losing my hearing, allegedly because it contained too many obstacles for me to navigate safely. My hands quivered as I searched her cabinet. The photographs sat right there. No effort to conceal them thoroughly after all, why would they? I couldn't hear them discussing it. Emma and Marcus at the lake, kissing, his arms around her waist possessively. Another image, them in our bed. Our bed. Her wearing my shirt. Countless pictures documenting a relationship that had thrived during my silence. But the paperwork beneath made my blood turn cold. Insurance documents, mine valued at $950,000, with a notation in Marcus's handwriting, "Accidental claims pay triple." My hands trembled so severely I almost released the papers. They weren't merely deceiving me. They were scheming to murder me. The proof continued. Financial records revealing money siphoned from my settlement account. Electronic communications discussing timelines and strategies. Messages filled with romantic declarations and tactics to handle the Sophia problem. I photographed everything using my phone. "Ms. Rivera, what you're presenting is extremely troubling." Attorney Jennifer Park examined the photographs arranged across her conference table, her keen eyes sharp with focus. "You contacted me specifically because 4 years ago, before I lost my hearing, I consulted you about estate planning," I explained, my voice steady despite internal turmoil. You were recommended by my colleague David. You likely don't recall. I remember, she interjected. You wanted to secure your assets properly. We had an initial meeting, but then you cancelled following your accident. I assumed that I'd arranged it with another attorney, someone who could accommodate my disability. I shook my head. I never completed it. Too overwhelmed adjusting to deafness. But I saved your information. This morning, I called from a prepaid phone Emma doesn't know exists. Jennifer reclined in her seat. How long has your hearing been restored? 4 days. I met her gaze squarely. The experimental treatment succeeded, but I haven't revealed this to anyone. I need to understand my legal position before they discover I can hear, because once they realize, I believe they'll expedite whatever they're planning. She nodded deliberately. Intelligent. Remarkably intelligent. All right, let's examine what we're confronting. First, the financial embezzlement, we can prove that. Second, the infidelity. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, but this evidence matters for asset division. Third, and most critical, these documents suggesting planned harm to you. Will law enforcement take this seriously? I asked. Or will it appear like a paranoid deaf woman imagining threats? With this evidence, they'll take it seriously. But Sophia, I need to pose something difficult. Jennifer's expression softened. What's your objective? Justice. Safety. Simply escape. I considered the woman I'd been before the accident. Confident, autonomous, a project manager with a flourishing career. Then I reflected on who I'd become: dependent, grateful for minimal affection, apologizing for existing. Everything, I finally stated. I want it all. That afternoon, I returned home and did something I'd been postponing. I contacted my sister, Rachel. Sophia, I've been planning to reach out. How are you feeling? Her warm voice brought moisture to my eyes. I need you to answer something honestly, I said. And I need you to not question why I'm asking. Can you do that? Hesitation. Of course. What's happening? When you visit, does Emma seem different? Does she behave strangely around Marcus? The silence extended too long. Rachel? Sophia. She exhaled slowly. I wasn't certain whether to mention anything. I didn't want to plant suspicions when you couldn't verify things yourself. But yes, last time I visited about 7 months ago, I entered the kitchen and they were standing inappropriately close. They separated abruptly when they heard me. And Emma had this expression, guilty, you know? I've been concerned, but I thought perhaps I was misinterpreting things. My suspicions validated, yet it wounded nonetheless. Why didn't you tell me? Because what if I was mistaken? What if I destroyed your marriage over nothing? You were already enduring so much. Her voice fractured. Sophia, what's going on? Are you safe? I will be, I promised. But I need another favor. Can you come by tomorrow afternoon around 3? And act completely normal, like nothing's wrong? You're frightening me. Trust me. Please. The next day, I prepared meticulously. I'd persuaded Emma to work from home, mentioning anxiety about being isolated. Marcus was already present, as he was most days currently. I suggested we all have lunch together on the deck, something we'd done frequently before my accident. When Rachel arrived, I heard the atmospheric shift immediately. Rachel's presence altered everything. I could sense Emma's nervousness, hear how Marcus's breathing changed. They weren't comfortable having a witness to their domestic arrangement. Sophia, you look wonderful, Rachel said, embracing me. Her hands squeezed mine briefly, a signal that she understood something was unfolding. We gathered on the deck and I performed my role flawlessly. The grateful deaf woman dependent on her devoted family. Emma has been incredible, I said, reaching toward where I knew she sat today. And Marcus helping so much. I don't know how I'd survive without you both. We're family, Emma responded. But I caught the look she directed at Marcus. That's what family does. Speaking of family, Rachel interjected smoothly, Sophia, remember your Uncle Robert? He contacted me asking for your number. Said he's been attempting to reach you. I'd asked Rachel to create this opening. Robert was my father's financial advisor, the trustee of my parents' estate, the person who'd helped me obtain my inheritance and settlement following the accident. Oh, Robert, I acted surprised. I haven't heard from him in ages. Did he mention what he needed? Something about reviewing your trust paperwork, annual verification stuff. Rachel's tone was casual, but I heard Emma and Marcus exchange a sharp breath. Marcus cleared his throat. Actually, Sophia, I've been meaning to discuss that with you. We should probably review your financial arrangements. With your settlement funds becoming accessible next month, we need to ensure everything's properly organized for tax implications. That's considerate, I said carefully. But Robert typically manages. Robert's across the country, Emma interrupted. It would be simpler if you granted Marcus power of attorney. Just temporarily until we organize everything. There was the actual plan crystallizing before me. I trust you both implicitly, I said, listening to their relieved exhales. But let me consider it. It's a significant decision. Rachel stayed for another hour, long enough to witness Emma's possessive touch on Marcus's arm, the intimate glances they exchanged. As I walked her to the exit, she whispered, whatever you're planning, I support you completely. That night, I listened to them again. I'd become proficient at it over the past 6 years, distinguishing footsteps, interpreting whispers, analyzing silences. But now, I could actually hear their words clearly. Through the gap in my bedroom door, I observed Nathan and Tanya in the corridor. She's suspicious, Emma hissed. Did you notice how she reacted to the power of attorney suggestion? She's deaf, not unintelligent, Marcus shot back. We need to exercise more caution. Caution. Marcus, the settlement transfers in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. We've been orchestrating this for nearly 18 months. We're so close. My breath caught. 18 months. Not 9 months like I'd overheard previously. A year and a half of betrayal. I know, baby. I know. His voice softened and through the opening I watched him cradle her face. Just trust me, okay? By mid-next month, we'll have everything. The settlement, the insurance, the house, all of it. And Sophia will finally be removed from our lives. How? Emma asked. She's not going to simply vanish. And we cannot make it appear suspicious. The stairs, Marcus said simply. She's had near accidents before. Everyone understands how dangerous they are for her. One unfortunate fall, a tragic accident. It'll be heartbreaking, but these incidents happen with deaf people. I pressed my hand over my mouth, fighting nausea. They were discussing my murder like it was a business transaction. When? Emma asked. After she signs the power of attorney. We need account access first. Then perhaps 3 weeks after the settlement arrives. That provides us time to transfer what we need, and it won't appear like we rushed anything. They kissed then, in the hallway outside my bedroom, and I watched the woman I'd loved for over a decade embrace my best friend with a passion she'd stopped showing me years ago. I recorded everything on my phone, tears streaming down my face in the darkness. The next morning, while Emma was showering, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. I'd watched her enter her passcode enough times over recent days to memorize it. The message was from a number saved only as K. Did you discuss it with her yet? We need confirmation by Thursday. I scrolled upward. Months of messages, but they weren't from Marcus. His number was saved under M. This was someone else, someone involved in their scheme. My hands trembled as I read. The pharmacist confirmed the dosage needs to be gradual. Too much immediately and the toxicology screen will detect it. Small quantities in her food over 3 weeks. Anxiety medication mixed with her actual prescriptions. They'll assume it's suicide or accidental overdose. They weren't just planning to push me down the stairs. They had an alternative plan, poisoning me. I quickly forwarded the messages to my own phone and deleted the sent notification. Then I photographed every message thread Marcus's, KS, and several others I didn't recognize. At 11, I pretended to attend my occupational therapy appointment. Emma drove me as always, but instead of going inside, I had the receptionist inform her I needed 3 hours for extended treatment. I went directly back to Jennifer Park's office. Dear God, she breathed, scrolling through the new evidence. Sophia, this transcends infidelity and financial fraud. This is conspiracy to commit murder. We need to contact the police immediately. Not yet, I said firmly. I need to identify who Kay is, and I need to understand exactly what they've already done. What if they've been poisoning me already? What if that's why I've been so fatigued recently, so confused? Jennifer studied me for a long moment. You want to catch them in the act. I want them to face consequences for everything, every lie, every stolen dollar, every moment they made me feel grateful for scraps while they plotted my death. My voice was steel now. I was deaf, Jennifer. Not stupid, not helpless, and definitely not disposable. She nodded slowly. Agreed. But we do this carefully, and we keep law enforcement informed. Agreed. Detective Sarah Lynn listened to my story with an expression that shifted from skepticism to horror. Ms. Rivera, what you're describing is extremely serious. If even half of this is accurate. It's all accurate, Jennifer interrupted, sliding copies of the evidence across her desk. And we believe there's an immediate threat to my client's life. She spent 30 minutes reviewing everything, photographs, messages, financial records, audio recordings. When she finally looked up, her jaw was tense. Who is Kay? She asked. That's what we need to discover, I said. Can you assist with that? I can have the phone number traced. Give me several hours. She leaned forward. Ms. Rivera, I need to ask you something. How long have you been able to hear? 10 days, I lied, adding extra days for safety. I wanted to be certain about what I was hearing before I reported anything. Smart. Terrible circumstances, but smart. She stood. I'm going to obtain a warrant for your wife's phone records and financial statements. Meanwhile, I need you to be extraordinarily careful. Can you stay elsewhere? If I disappear, they'll realize something's wrong. They'll flee or destroy evidence. I met her eyes. I need to return home, but I need to know who I'm dealing with first. Jennifer touched my arm. Sophia, the detective is right. This is too dangerous. My entire life for 6 years has been dangerous, and I didn't even realize it, I interrupted her. Now I finally have the advantage. I'm not running. 4 hours later, Detective Lynn called. We have an identification on Kay. Are you sitting down? Who is it? Dr. Catherine Chen. Your audiologist. The room spun. The doctor who'd treated me, who'd monitored my experimental treatment, who'd known for 10 days that I could hear again, and who I'd begged not to inform anyone. Oh my God, I whispered. She's been updating them. She informed them about the treatment. It's worse than that, Lynn said grimly. We pulled her financial records with the warrant. Emma Rivera has been paying her $35,000 monthly for the past year. I returned home that evening with the weight of revelation crushing my chest. Dr. Chen, the woman who'd held my hand through painful procedures, who'd promised to help me hear again, had been working with my wife all along. How was therapy? Emma asked, kissing my cheek. The gesture made my skin crawl. Draining, I said truthfully. But beneficial. The therapist says I'm making progress with my balance. Marcus emerged from the kitchen wearing one of my favorite sweaters, the one I'd worn to my promotion celebration 7 years ago. I prepared your favorite salmon and asparagus. How many meals had they poisoned? How many nights had I gone to bed feeling strange, exhausted, disoriented, thinking it was just stress or medication side effects? I pushed the food around my plate, pretending to eat while actually concealing bites in my napkin. Delicious, I lied. Sophia, Emma began, her tone carefully casual. I spoke with Robert today about your trust. He mentioned you really should have someone with power of attorney, just for emergencies. What if something happened and we couldn't access funds you needed for medical care? You're right, I agreed, watching both their faces illuminate with satisfaction. Let's arrange it. Can we set it up this week? Emma's hand found Marcus's under the table. I saw the triumph in their eyes. Absolutely, Marcus said warmly. I'll contact the attorney tomorrow. This is genuinely the best thing, sister. We just want to protect you. That night, after they believed I was asleep, I listened to their celebration in the living room. She agreed. Emma's voice was euphoric. Marcus, she actually agreed. I told you it would work. The power of attorney processes Thursday. The settlement transfers Monday. By Wednesday, we transfer the funds to our international account. And by next weekend. He trailed off, but I knew how that sentence concluded. By next weekend, I would be dead. I almost feel guilty, Emma said. For a moment, I thought I heard genuine remorse. Then she laughed. Almost. But God, I'm so exhausted pretending to be the devoted wife. Do you know how difficult it is to pretend to care about her boring deaf person problems? Just a few more days, baby, Marcus soothed. Then it's just us, the life we deserve. We'll finally be free. I recorded every word, tears streaming down my face in the darkness. Thursday morning arrived. Jennifer had insisted that Detective Lynn and 2 other officers be present at the bank, concealed when I signed the power of attorney documents. Mr. Harris and Ms. Rivera, the notary began, spreading papers across the desk. This grants Mr. Harris full access to your accounts, including the disability settlement. Do you understand what you're signing? I do, I said clearly. Through my inactive hearing aids, I watched Marcus squeeze Emma's hand where they sat in chairs against the wall. She'd accompanied us for moral support. And you're doing this of your own free will? No one is coercing you. No one is coercing me, I confirmed. I trust Marcus completely. The pen felt heavy in my hand as I signed. Marcus practically vibrated with excitement. Congratulations, the notary said, gathering the documents. This will be processed by close of business today. We left the bank. They didn't see Detective Lynn follow us out. That afternoon, while Marcus went to run errands, actually meeting with Dr. Chen, according to the police surveillance, I finally told Emma I could hear. Emma, I said quietly. We were alone in the kitchen. I need to tell you something. What's wrong? She touched my arm, the concerned wife act firmly in place. I activated my hearing aids and looked directly at her. I can hear you. The color drained from her face. What? I've been able to hear for 3 weeks. The treatment worked. I kept my voice level. And I've heard everything. The way you speak to my best friend, the way you touch him, the way you wear my clothes in my house while planning my murder. She stumbled backward. Sophia, you're confused. I have recordings, Emma. Photographs, bank statements, text messages between you, Marcus, and Dr. Chen discussing how to kill me and steal my money. Each word was a blade. I know everything. Her face transformed then, beautiful features twisting into something ugly and hateful. You self-righteous bitch. You've always thought you were better than me, haven't you? Perfect Sophia with her perfect career while I struggled with everything. I loved you, I said, my voice breaking. I trusted you with everything. And you never let me forget how dependent you were, she screamed. Always the victim, always the one everyone worried about. Even deaf, you were still the center of attention, still the one everyone admired. Do you know what it's like living as your wife? Always in your shadow? The door burst open. Marcus rushed in, Dr. Chen behind him. They stopped when they saw me with my hearing aids clearly activated, staring directly at them. Hello, Marcus, I said softly. Dr. Chen. Thank you for coming. That's when Detective Lin and 4 officers entered through the back door. Emma Rivera, Marcus Harris, Dr. Catherine Chen, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and attempted poisoning. Everything happened rapidly after that. The reading of rights, the handcuffs, the shouting. Emma screaming that I'd destroyed everything. Marcus silent, his face ashen. Dr. Chen trying to negotiate, claiming she'd been coerced. The trial lasted 5 months. The evidence was overwhelming. Emma got 30 years. Marcus got 25. Dr. Chen got 18 plus the loss of her medical license. But winning didn't feel like victory. I stood in the house we'd shared, now empty except for moving boxes. Everything was mine, the settlement, the house, the accounts they'd stolen from. I'd gotten justice, but I'd lost my wife, my best friend, my ability to trust. 6 years of my life had been stolen by deafness, and another 18 months by betrayal. Rachel found me crying in the empty living room. Hey, she said gently, sitting beside me. You did it. You won. Then why does it hurt so much? I whispered. Because you loved them, both of them. And love doesn't die just because it should. She squeezed my hand. But you survived, Sophia. And you'll do more than survive, you'll live. Really live. She was right. I sold the house and moved across the country. Started a support group for people who'd experienced intimate partner betrayal. Wrote a book about my experience that helped thousands. Became an advocate for victims of financial abuse. But some nights, I still wake up in silence, heart pounding, reaching for sound I'm terrified won't be there. Some scars never fully heal. I can hear now, truly hear, not just with my ears, but with clarity about who people really are. It's a gift born from devastation. My name is Sophia Rivera. I was deaf for 6 years. And when I could finally hear again, I overheard a betrayal that shattered everything I thought I knew about love, friendship, and trust. But I'm still here. Still standing. Still fighting. And that has to be enough. Thank you for experiencing this emotional journey. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment telling me what you would have done in Sophia's situation. Remember, trust your instincts, protect yourself, and never let anyone make you feel weak for being vulnerable. You deserve better than betrayal. See you in the next story.